So where do we go from here? We've looked at media, faith, culture. What are some practical resources for you? My website is just my name. It's brettullman.com. And if you go across the top, you'll find all my social media. I always just ask if you could follow me on social media. It would be a big help. It actually bumps the algorithm so more people see the content I post. But I'd really love you to follow me on Instagram. I really want this year to have the swipe up feature for my YouTube videos, and I need 10,000 friends. So students, if you could follow me with all 5 of your spam accounts, that would be wonderful. On the bar below that, there's all kinds of things. You can find my talks, but there's one that just says blog. If you click on blog, it has everything I speak on, all the different things. So whether it's today we're talking about media, but whether it's mental health, sexuality, pornography. And I often say that I'm not a blogger. I'm more of a curator. I read hundreds of blogs and articles each week, and I find the best ones, and then I just reblog them out to you. Often I'm like, here's a great YouTube video on pornography, and I post it for you. But this website's just a landing page where you can put all of those things together. And I do have an email list where you can get a weekly message saying, here's the new things that I posted. I have a YouTube channel, and for the students, it's actually called Parenting Navigating Everything. I'm probably going to change it to Navigating Everything in the next few years, but it was made for parents. But here's what's interesting. The number of students who go to it and write me and say, I'm learning from this video or that video is extraordinary, because I think you as a student, even though I'm writing to a parent saying, here's what to do for you as a student, you can look at it from a different kind of lens and learn from that. I would also say some of the videos that are my best are actually the lowest views, and some of the ones I don't think were the best are the highest views. So don't ever just think a higher viewed video is a better one. I do have 5 books. I wrote 4. My newest book is the one I've already mentioned, but this is today's talk for students and parents. I have a book called Your Story, The Wounding Embrace. I wrote many years ago before my breakdown. So it's a book on mental health, but more eating disorders, self-harm, suicide. Then I had a breakdown, and I have a book called Reset. And it is my breakdown put in book form, which sounds weird, but I was asked to write it. Someone said, I've never heard a Christian's perspective on a breakdown. So it's my breakdown, everything about it. And then I had, I think it's 18 friends and family write their journeys, everything from miscarriages and sickness. But the goal is, pain and suffering leading to hope and healing. And as I mentioned earlier, my new book, even though it's made for parents, is filled with topics like mental health and dating and sexuality. And it is probably 5 books in one, written from a parenting perspective, but you as a student could learn a lot from it. And as we've gone through these conversations today, I've mentioned a few of these. These are all available on YouTube. So if you were listening and you're like, oh, you know what, Brett, I also struggle with mental health, you can go to YouTube and find these videos like on mental health or pornography or whatever else and walk through those same conversations that I would have with you today, but if I was doing a different talk. A couple thoughts and then we're done. I heard once someone who said this, that change comes when there's a vision of the future that's just so amazing that they want to get there, or change comes when someone hits rock bottom. And the goal, I think, with a talk like this today is looking at how do we give you a vision of a way to live life that's just better than what might be happening today. At a camp, which is actually this camp, the one thing that is often said here is this: a leader is someone who looks at the world and says it doesn't have to be this way. And here's the best line, and does something about it. We don't have to be living the life that we have today. There are ways to make changes in all these things. Now, I would encourage you to have a way to process, meaning there's a lot we've been through in this conversation. So whether you go for a walk or go to the gym or exercise, I find exercise, you might have all these things in your head and a bunch will fall away. I also say I'm a big fan of a leadership guru named John Maxwell. And John, and I almost end every talk I do with this, because John says it this way: whenever you're challenged by anything, you have 3 days to do something about it. So whatever day of the week today is, add 3. If you haven't made a single change in 3 days, statistically, you never will. And if that's all that this is that I speak and you listen and that's it, what a waste of time, yours and mine. We got branded a few years ago as an organization, and the woman doing our branding gave me, it was 1,000 words on all these pages. And she said, choose one, like which one would you be? And I'm like, how do you do that? She's like, just keep cutting it in half. So I kept cutting it down. And the one word I chose was the word catalyst. The goal today is simple. I want to be a spark. I want to spark something in you to push you forward, no matter what it is, media, faith, culture, or anything else that you've thought about as we've gone through our talk today. So whether it's media, whether it's faith, or whether it's culture, here's the goal. Choose one thing. And whatever it might be, you have 3 days to walk through this conversation. So I end by saying this: media, discern your media. Faith, dive into your faith. And culture, engage your culture. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you soon.